This video is for those of you who are about to move into your home, or if you're going to be buying a home and you're starting to plan ahead and think about what am I going to need in my new house. Yeah, these are some common items that you find in a home that you're going to regret. I'm going to share some personal items myself that I have brought into my house, and now I'm beating myself up over it, regretting it. Why did I do this? It's just, I need to get rid of this. So I hope you find value in this one. So let's get into it right now. So a lot of these items are kitchen items. There are a couple of like smaller house appliances, but I do have a lot of kitchen items in here. The purpose of this is to help prevent you from getting over cluttered in your new home. Okay. Because trust me, your house is going to fill up really fast. And if you bring in some unnecessary items, you're going to regret it. You're going to end up wanting to get rid of it. So the first item I have, hold your horses. Oh, we have the lovely KitchenAid mixer. How many people have this lovely beast in their house? Okay, so I bought this many years ago thinking, oh, it'd be good to bake some cookies around the holidays. Now, mind you, I'm not into baking. I'm not. I know, don't let my last name fool you. I'm not a baker. I like truly a baker. I'm not, but I felt like, this would be a good thing to have in the house just in case I want to bake some cookies, bake some bread. Have I made bread? No, I haven't. I think I've used this thing a handful of times, and we've had it like, I think 20 years now. I ended up taking it out of the kitchen, and now it's sitting in my basement. It is. It was taking up way too much space on my counters because I never used a darn thing. And trust me, if you're not into baking that much, do not feel like you have to own one of these things. They're expensive, they're clunky, they take up a lot of space. If you do bake and you want to make something like really quick, if you want to make some cookies like from scratch, I still have one of those electric handheld mixers. I use that, and I think that does a job even better. I find this thing to be clunky. It's annoying, and I regret it. So there you go. Here's your first item. Okay, next item, it is a kitchen item, is those electric griddles. Now, I used to have one of those big electric griddles. It's on the countertop, and it's great if you want to make a big breakfast or a lot of food at once. If you're not cooking for a large group and you're not entertaining a lot, do not waste your money on this, because this is going to take a lot of space in your kitchen or wherever in your house. I mean, I ended up getting rid of the thing after like 2 years because, again, we used it like a handful of times. The whole idea of it sounded great at the time, but we just didn't use it. Unless you're entertaining or you're cooking for a big family, I would consider it. But if not, don't get sucked in thinking that you need to have that, because you don't need to have it. You'll regret it. It's going to take up too much space. Trust me on that one. So the next household item, it's those artificial fireplaces. Now, you're probably going to come at me because if you bought a house that doesn't have a fireplace, you want one of those artificial ones because, they look pretty. Some of them do provide heat to a room, which is, it's a nice little function. But if you're into that whole ambiance thing, yeah, it ends up taking up a lot of space. I have a family member that bought one of these things and it looked really pretty. And then after a while, they got sick of it. They got sick of it because it took up too much space and it was too cluttered and crowded in the room that they had it in. So they ended up ditching it after a couple of years. So do yourself a favor, save yourself the money, the aggravation. Don't buy one of these things. Unless you really want to have that fireplace feel in your house, okay, fine. But over time, it's going to make your room feel cluttered and crowded and you'll regret it. Now, the next item you're going to regret bringing into your house are too many water bottles. Now, you all know, you watch my live streams, I use these, I have my my 40-ounce Stanley mug here. It's great and all, but when you have too many of them in your house, they literally take over. They take over your kitchen cabinets. Now, mind you, I don't have multiple Stanleys. I mean, we have my Stanley, but then, my kids have their water bottles and they're pretty large too, and they're just taking up all this space. And I'm telling you, multiple water bottles. I'm like, what are we doing here? It's taking over a house. That's what I feel like. So if you do have a family, young family, and these water bottles are important to you, fine. Try to limit it to one per person. You don't need multiple water bottles per person. Trust me, when you move into your kitchen, when you put these things in your kitchen cabinet, it's just going to take up way too much space. So yeah, cut it back on the water bottles. Okay, the next item you're going to regret and you don't need this actually, you really don't, are these novelty shot glasses. Okay, look, I know you probably picked up a lot of these shot glasses in your travels or while you're in college, and you want to hang on to these, but when you bring them into your house, this is another thing that's just going to take up space, and you're going to say, why do I have this? Like, this is a Planet Hollywood shot glass from New York City. I think I got this in the 90s. Why do I still have this? I don't know, but it's a waste. You don't need a bunch of them. Like, here's another one. This is from Excalibur. That was a place in Chicago I visited. I think it was a club. Yeah, it was like a club or a bar I visited on a business trip back in the 90s. Why do I still have this? I don't need this. So we don't need all of these shot glasses. Martha's Vineyard. Why? Come on. You have multiple shot glasses and you don't need all of them in your house. So do yourself a favor, keep one. You don't need a whole bunch of them. Just keep one of them and ditch the rest of them, because you're going to regret it, because you're just going to be sitting there collecting dust in your cabinet, and you don't need that. Okay, another kitchen item we're going to talk about are those single-use gadgets. So I'm talking about the avocado slicers, the egg poachers, and then there's this thing. I didn't buy this. I actually got this in a goodie bag at an event I went to back in the fall. This is an onion saver. So you open this thing up. If you have like half of an onion left, so you put that other half, you pop it in here, you close it up, you put it back in your refrigerator. Why do I have this? This is taking up so much space in my drawer. And when I have like half of an onion left over, I either wrap it in saran wrap or put it in a Ziploc bag and throw it back in the fridge. Why? So these little things, these little gadgets that you think you're going to need in your new kitchen, think twice. I would not be looking into these things. They just take up a lot of space in your drawer, and you're just going to add to your clutter, and you're going to regret it. Getting back to the small appliances. So this contraption thing, we got this about a year ago, and I'm telling you, we've used that twice. Now, my husband thought it was a good idea because we do entertain. He's like, oh, this would be a good way to make cocktails. And, it comes with the little pods, like a Keurig coffee maker. It's a little pod with different cocktail mixes. And then you have the liquor bottles you can see in the picture, and it'll pull in, with the proper amount of alcohol or liquor to put in the drink. And it makes this little fancy cocktails. Okay. Yeah, it's a fun little thing, but we don't use it that much. I think, like I said, we've used it twice. Big waste of space. And if you get one of these things, you will regret it. And then you're probably thinking to yourself, oh, but I entertain, this will come in handy. Yeah, you're not, believe me. Those pods are expensive, and you're not going to use it. Get yourself one of those bartender guides and learn how to make the cocktails yourself. It's not even worth it. It's not worth using these things. And yeah, I think that thing's going to go on Facebook Marketplace, because I don't need it. Yeah, I regret it. I really do. Another household appliance, small appliance that I think you'll regret having, it's these handheld vacuum. This is the Black & Decker Dustbuster. Okay. I grew up with these in the 80s. My mother loved her dustbuster because she was so anal about keeping her house clean. She walked around the house, any little speck of dust, little piece of dirt, she was using that dustbuster. I don't like these things at all. I'd rather take out my vacuum. First of all, it's taking up space. I don't use it that often. And the other problem with these things is that the battery dies so fast. Like after a couple of years, even though if you have it charged, the battery dies like within the first 2 minutes that you use the thing, and it doesn't do a good of a job as if you were to use a vacuum. So I'd rather take the extra time and pull out the vacuum cleaner versus using that thing. I just think that thing is a waste. It's a waste of space. You're going to regret it, and don't bother. Just use your vacuum if you have a quick spill. Those things, you'll regret that. The next household item you'll regret having, but okay, I'm going to say it. I know when you all go to Home Goods, TJ Maxx, HomeSense, you kind of get sucked into these unusual, fancy looking pieces of furniture, lamps, and you bring them home, and then it just sits there, and you're like, you may end up not using it. So here's my example. I found this gem. It's a lamp. I found this gem in, I think, HomeSense a couple of years ago. Haven't used it yet. I had this grandiose idea thinking this is going to look great in my office. Ew, no, it doesn't. It doesn't look good. Then I thought, okay, I could probably use it somewhere else in the house. I put it away, and I'm like, let me come back to it. It's been sitting in my basement for the past 2 years. Haven't used it. Have not used used it. So I regret this purchase a lot. So this is another Facebook Marketplace item I'm going to have to get rid of. So if you're in Home Goods and you see these fancy, weird looking lamps, do yourself a favor, skip by it, go with like a traditional looking lamp because you're going to regret that. It's just going to take up space and you'll end up getting rid of it. So I don't recommend that. Another item, going back into the kitchen again, another item you're going to regret having is too many of these, too many coffee mugs. Okay. And this goes along with the shot glasses. If you have like, novelty mugs from, say, Disney World or wherever you vacationed and, you had to get a mug there. And these things are like, these grow exponentially. I can't tell you how many mugs I have in my kitchen right now I need to get rid of because you don't need all of them. You don't. So if you have a bunch of these mugs that you bought when you were at the beach last year, or you're at, you went to Aruba and you had to bring home a mug, don't bring them into your house because I'm going to tell you, those, just like the water bottles, they're going to take up a lot of space really fast and you're going to regret that. So pare that down too. Do not bring all of those excessive mugs into your house. So yeah, you don't need it. I hope you found this one valuable today and it'll help prevent any unnecessary clutter when you move into your new home. If you want to know about what upgrades that people did and they regretted doing in their home after they moved in, you can watch this video right here. I think you're going to love it. You're going to learn a lot from it. Thank you for watching me today to get your dose of real estate reality. My name is Jackie Baker, and I will see you next time.